Hello, I'm Kit Alexander. This program is a presentation of the Communications Department of Northeast State Community College, and can be a challenging time for students, but as Northeast State, there are many student services that can help new and continuing students to be successful. In this episode of Direction Northeast, we will look at some of the services available to students. We'll be back to start our discussion following this message.
Over 10 years in investigations.
25 in heating and air conditioning.
15 years in the automotive industry.
22 in computer science.
23 years in healthcare.
An engineer.
A biochemist.
A chemist.
An award-winning author.
Northeast State professors bring experience to the classroom, a personal education from a professional. Classes when you need them, where you need them. More than 150 programs. Visit northeaststate.edu. Northeast State Community College. We're here to get you there.
Our guests today are Denise Walker, Director of Testing and Counseling Services, Kathy Coleman, the Dean of Student Services, and Rayma Gibbs of Students Needs. Ladies, welcome to the show. Glad to have each one of you here today. Super excited about it. All right, we'll have some questions here for y'all today. It's going to be fun. First of all, what are some of the different student services available at Northeast State Community College?
Well, we have a lot of services. So I work with the counseling and the testing. And that's what I do. I mean, I don't know what all do you want us to cover?
Sure, everything, really. I mean, you know, there's just so many different programs in general. I guess we could start out right there, since you cover the test and whatnot. Tell me, first of all, about the placement test.
Okay, we have an AccuPlacer test that students who are coming to college who haven't taken an ACT can take that for placement. So we know if they're ready to go into college, if they might need a little bit of, some review work. And so they take those co-requisites. So students take that test before they register for their classes.
Right. So that kind of, it basically, well, it doesn't really replace the ACT, but I mean, I guess what you're saying is that that's how you basically get into college. It's like you said, placement test.
Yeah, you need to have some kind of barometer when students are coming to see what their skills are in English, reading, and with math.
Oh, yeah, exactly. All right. Well, another question, too, along that line, I guess it just kind of bridges along the same thing. Does your department also administer the exit exam?
Right. So we give the ETS proficiency profile. We just call it the exit exam. Yeah. And everybody graduating with an associate's degree must take that before they graduate in order to get their diploma. And so it's kind of like I always say, students take a test coming in, you take a test going out. And that is something that they don't have to make a certain score on that, but we just try to encourage students to do the best they can because they're looking at the college as a whole and by departments. And we want to make sure that our students are gaining those skills through their college experience, to match up with other colleges. And we do. We always are right there, a little above the national average.
Wow. Okay. That actually gives me another question, too, along that line. Now, let's say this would be a very rare case scenario, but what if you had somebody that has like an unaccredited bachelor's degree? If would they still need to take the same test basically to get into the college? Same exit exam, or I mean.
So somebody they had a bachelor's degree?
Yes, correct, but it would be like, it would be unaccredited. Or does that affect anything?
Well, there are some uncredited schools, and so that all goes through the admissions, and they make that determination. If someone has college approved in an English class, like a sociology, a PE, or they have math, then that could waive any kind of requirements for the placement test. But our admissions looks at those transcripts, and they make those decisions, and then we are the ones that give the test when they say they need it.
Right. So y'all just look at it, and you can kind of determine there. All right. So I kind of bridging along that line as well. I know Rayma Gibbs, glad to have you here as well today.
Nice to be here.
Absolutely. Tell us some about the Student Needs Project.
Well, the Student Needs Project, which is part of our office, which is Scholarship Program and Student Needs, our goal is to assist students when they hit those rough patches while they're here at school. It can be anything from transportation assistance to food need, to just a regular emergency situation such as their car breaks down, and a little bit of emergency money might help them maybe repair an alternator or get a new tire, or perhaps they have a situation where they're in an overdue status and their lights are getting ready to be turned off. We can try to help them. If we don't have the means, we will certainly try to connect them to outside sources, and that's kind of what we do. We try to help them through those rough times.
Exactly. Well, that's a great program. Is there anything in specifics for, just like let's say they just don't have money or they're not eligible for scholarships and stuff to maybe get into college. Y'all have something along that line to help students?
Well, we do have scholarship programs. Students do have to apply. Our next one will open, our application will open beginning November and close March 1st. That'll be for next fall and spring. They are competitive. So students that are looking at going to school next fall can definitely apply for those. Once that application ends, unfortunately, they're going to have to wait for the following year. Our emergency scholarships are to help with those unexpected expenses. So it will not pay for tuition or books, but it's to help them with the things they didn't see that were coming their way.
Wow, that's very interesting. Also, too, I mean, I noticed the Bear Bucks, the craft sale going on out there. Tell us a little bit about that as well.
Well, that is part of our Because of You campaign that the school runs the foundation runs every year, and David Haga has that program up for the Bear Bucks, and we have a lot of wonderful people that create crafts, everything. We have foundation board members that do that, students, faculty, staff, and they will plan and make items, and we have baked goods and coffee, and they sell this all week long, and 100% of the proceeds go into the Student Needs Project. And that will help us maintain a fund that we can turn around and continue to purchase gas certificates and help those students. And we do that every year, and David Haga has been an amazing resource, and I don't know what we do without him to help raise those funds.
Wow, and you also said too that, I mean, it's available to students to help out as well.
Yes.
Yeah. If somebody wants to actually reach out and get involved with that, who do they need to contact?
They can come by our office and we can give them some information. That is just a one-time event, but there's a lot of ways to help.
Wow. Now you mentioned some of those ways. What are some other ways other than the like that particular event that they can just get involved? For people who want to do it.
Well, students can. I think that's our big one that really includes the whole school. We have a lot of faculty and staff who donate money through their paycheck deductions to the Student Needs Project. They do that every month, or they can make a one-time contribution. We have people that donate all the time. Sometimes we'll just get checks from outside sources that want to give something, and they'll say, please give this to the Student Needs Project. We want to help, or we've heard about this, or we know someone that benefited and got them through a rough time. So they can always stop by our office. We're in the General Studies building in C2107. Students can come by anytime and see us.
Wow, and I'm sure they can call as well.
Of course, yes.
Yeah,
just
and
go.
Email.
Sure can.
Wow, absolutely. Well, that's very cool on that. I know there's some other projects and stuff with the school as well here in Northeast State. And maybe we can elaborate a little bit more on that. So, like in specifics, what counseling services does Northeast State offer to students who might be suffering from anxiety or depression or other symptoms?
Well, I'm a counselor, and I provide counseling, and I have an intern, a social work intern this year, Heather Fullen, who's working with me. So students can walk in, they can make appointments, and anxiety is what a lot of students are coming with. People are saying, I'm stressed, having difficult. Sometimes it is depression, sometimes it's relationship, family issues. So, we just try to work with them and help them. Sometimes we, do refer them to off-campus resources if that's needed. This semester, seeing, quite a few new students. Sometimes we have returning. We don't limit how long they come. We're just kind of there to try to help them.
Right. Yeah. So along that line, I mean, counseling helps, I guess, in a number of different ways. Maybe just kind of listing different ways it does actually help. What benefits would counseling actually help a student? Because some people are kind of, I guess, afraid to come forward and even ask anything.
I think people are. People are, what's going to happen when they come in there? And as I try to say, we're just trying to create a safe place where we listen, and just kind of a place where people can come and just kind of express what's going on, kind of share things that maybe they haven't told before. We try to focus on some positive things. Like sometimes I feel like repeat myself over it, like, do you exercise? Exercise helps anxiety. Are you doing that? Are you eating? Are you sleeping? Some of those kind of basic things that can help. And just talking. I know it sounds crazy, but talk therapy can help. And then sometimes students are on medication, or they're we refer to a doctor. We work with Center for Students' Disabilities sometimes. Some of the students work qualify for those services. We are always trying to help branch out the other departments. So we refer to student needs, we refer to the advising. So counseling, it's not just in that little office. I'm trying to help them across the campus too.
Right. You also mentioned something too about, like, maybe some of the physical needs as well. I know on campus, we do have, a gym and whatever. Are there programs along that line for somebody that may need to?
Well, we don't have a gym anymore. That has to be a PE class. So, I just talk to people about walking and kind of doing in their off time and doing those things.
Right, exactly. For also too, does your department offer assistance to students that may have like drug or alcohol addictions?
Well, if someone comes and they're dealing with that, usually one-on-one, but I'm usually trying to refer them to a recovery group. I know that someone dealing with addictions, really that support, that team effort really is going to help them.
So as far as like maybe some kind of domestic abuse, same kind of thing, different kinds of abuse, there would be something along that line.
Somebody a victim of sexual violence, again, going to talk with them, going to really work to connect them with community resources, or if they need legal help, the police, but going to work with what they want. When someone has been the victim of sexual violence, we want them to have their own empowerment. So I'm there to help connect them with the resources in the community and support them and what they need on campus.
Right. Wow. Well, no, that's definitely some good stuff there. Moving on, though, I would like to actually talk about the ARC, or the Advising Resource Center. There's some good questions along that line. But why is advisement important prior to registration?
Okay, well, several years ago, Northeast State did not require academic advising before registration. We just strongly encouraged that. But as you know, as a student yourself, sometimes when things are just encouraged, they don't happen. And we care enough about our students to require it. It is important enough for us to require that they meet with someone who's trained in academic advising, who knows the policies, who knows the requirements for their program, to make sure those students are on the right track. Previously, sometimes we would have students who were denied graduation because they had self-advised. They had taken incorrect classes for their degree program. They didn't always understand the college catalog. And so now we're able to make sure that they're on the right track and they're taking the courses they need for the program they're wanting to pursue.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. And so that kind of answers the question, I guess, why is it important? That stuff had to be, worked out, like literally beforehand as they get into the room. So what are like the reasons for advisement?
Well, when a student comes into the advising center, or when they visit their faculty advisor, because all students at Northeast State are assigned a faculty advisor based on their major that they've chosen. The Advising Resource Center actually serves as support to our faculty. Sometimes a student's schedule and the faculty's schedule don't match up and they can't meet with them, or if a student is at another location from where their faculty office is located, they may need somebody else to talk to. And so we serve as support to that. But what we do when we're doing academic advising with a student is we're confirming their major, making sure that they're listed in their correct major, that they're following the correct catalog requirements, and we talk to them about their goals. What are their career goals? Are they wanting to look at a degree program where they're going to finish everything at Northeast State and enter the world of work? Or do they want to transfer to a university and pursue a bachelor's degree or even higher? Because that's very important at a community college, because we offer so many different options. Sometimes it can be overwhelming and confusing, and so we kind of help decipher that.
Right. Along that line too, some of these same services, I know there's different campuses. Is there a way, people can get involved like at their own campus, like let's say in Kingsport or, one of the other campuses?
Yes. The Advising Resource Center visits each Northeast State campus weekly. For example, if we are in the Kingsport campus on Monday of this week, next week we'll be there on Tuesday, and the following week we'll be there on Wednesday. So we rotate those visits to ensure that all the students have opportunity to meet with us. Also, we have other faculty that are actually permanently assigned to some of these campuses, and they're cross-trained to advise students across the different majors. So we want to make sure that all the students, regardless of where they're attending their classes, have access to academic advising.
Wow, okay, also too, we want to ask you about the student referrals. Tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Okay, well, several years ago, we started to have some faculty that would reach out to our office because they would have students who were not attending class. And they were concerned, and they wanted to know, what happened to this student? They're just missing. And sometimes faculty would try to call the students, but they would not have a lot of luck contacting them. And so we started an attendance early alert, whereby faculty could refer a student and say, The students missed an excessive number of classes. We're worried about them. We want to know where they are, what we can do to help them catch up. And our office would start to try to contact those students. That can be very challenging. Many times the phone numbers we have listed don't work. And so we're not always able to reach those students. And when we're not able to reach a student, what we do is we send that student a letter to let them know that faculty member is concerned about them, that we're concerned, and we want to know, are they coming back to classes? Has something happened that they're going to have to stop out for the semester? And we try to encourage them to contact us so that we can walk them through the different processes they might need to do to officially drop a class so that it doesn't count against them, to check with financial aid before they do that to make sure that they're not going to negatively impact scholarships or financial aid they may have, and then also to connect them to support services if there is a way to salvage that class for them that semester so they can come back and complete that. This whole process started as attendance early alert, but as that grew and grew, then we started to see a need for other types of alerts to refer students to the Learning Center where they could receive free tutoring assistance, alerts that would go to student needs where Rayma works to help students with socioeconomic needs, things of that nature. And then with our counseling, we have a lot of students that have a lot of stress and a lot of pressure outside the classroom, but that doesn't stay in the parking lot. That follows them into the classroom, and that's a part of what we need to support. And so now it is a full-blown student referral system.
Wow. And you mentioned something too about like if they did need to drop a class or whatever. Walk us through that process. Let's say they needed to because of just some unexpected circumstances come up.
Well, the first thing that we do is we automatically start to talk to them about, what is the situation? Is this a situation where we need to get them in contact with some of the resources available to support them? If it's something that the college actually can't really help with, it's something that's kind of beyond everyone's control, and they actually do just need to stop out of that class and maybe return next semester, we always get them to the financial aid office to make sure of how that's going to impact financial aid. That's critical. So once that's occurred, if we are prior, every semester there's a deadline to drop a class. So if we are prior to that deadline, then we help that student go on to My Northeast and drop that course in their My Northeast account. If, however, circumstances occur after the last day to drop for that semester, there still is a process for that student to be able to drop the class. We understand that all the student crises are not going to happen before a certain date. That's just not realistic. So there is a process whereby a student can apply for a late drop withdrawal. It's just that at that point, it requires a little more effort on the student's part. They have to provide us documentation of what's occurred. For example, a doctor's excuse, or perhaps an obituary, an unfortunate circumstance of a death in the family, or it could be a work schedule change and we just need a copy of something from their employer. And then they can still appeal to drop after that deadline. And that helps them in that it salvages their GPA. Because if they stay on the roll of that course and they receive an F, then that kind of inhibits their opportunity to return the next semester.
Exactly. How does referrals, you mentioned about that, how does referrals actually impact financial aid? I guess in different specific ways.
Well, it depends on the type of financial aid. And that's why we always refer them to the experts in that office. Some types of financial aid, it's better for the student to remain in the course and actually receive the F. Other types of financial aid, it's better for them to drop the course. And because we don't necessarily have access to all of their financial aid records, because that's highly confidential, we get the student to that office so those specialists can look at that and advise the student, is it in their best interest to drop or remain in the course.
Exactly, in which case, they may just be better off to
Exactly.
just drop their course. Yeah, exactly. So for our audience too, tell us a little bit about the history of the referral program here at Northeast State. Behind the history.
Well, like I said earlier, it started, several years ago with just attendance early alert. But it didn't take long for us to realize as we were doing the attendance early alerts that there was a lot more going on here. We would reach students who perhaps, we've had students before that were living in their car. We've had students that were having trouble with transportation. We've had students who greatly have benefited from our food pantry now. So there's just lots of different things that were going on in those students' lives that were beyond just the fact they'd missed a class. And so then it just, like I said, it grew into referrals to all these various student services.
Wow.
And I think it's getting faculty and staff to realize it's there, to realize that it's there, that they can refer. And so that's been the challenge, that we've had this great referral system for a long time, but they but not realizing, hey, I can go in there and refer, and what's going to happen with that. So that has been the challenge, and we want that word to be out there, that there's a new, the referral system is there for faculty and staff when they're concerned about the attendance, but these personal issues, like, the Rayma always receives the ones about the social economic, and I get the ones on the counseling end. So, when faculty they notice a student lost a family member, or they say they're struggling in some way, then they'll send that, I get that, then I check it, and then I'm reaching out to that student and following up.
Wow. Also, too, what about like the eligibility for student needs or whatever?
It depends on the program. With Mobile Food Pantry, that's open to all our students. We do have to have an application filled out for that, but we partner with Second Harvest on that one. And we raise the funds for that program, and we don't want to turn anybody away that's in need. So students can come by our office and I can talk to them about that. The other programs do have GPA requirements, and there are reviews involved, but we try to help everyone that we can.
On that line. Also, too, well, that's pretty incredible. What reasons would faculty or other staff maybe use student referral systems, and why are the referrals important? I think you already touched a little bit on that, but why are
Because students aren't always aware of the services, so trying to get the word to faculty staff that we can make sure they are aware of what's going on. Because students, we try, we have flat screens and posters and things like that, emails, but students don't read that. So we need faculty and staff to be aware of that, like, oh my goodness, I could refer them to this student, and somebody will reach out and help them.
Exactly.
Because the help is there, people, contributing to student needs or counseling's here, we're, advising, we're here to help. But often students say, well, I didn't know you were there.
Exactly.
And that's why we need faculty, staff to really refer those students, take that extra time to do that, so then we can reach out and help them.
And faculty play such a key role in that because they spend more time with the students than anybody.
And they know their students.
And we have a great faculty here at Northeast State. They really do care. Oftentimes, by the time they refer a student to us, they've already attempted to help that student themselves, and this referral is just one more step to trying to help them.
Yeah, they cared enough to know the student was homeless.
Exactly.
Yes.
They knew enough to know that the student's family member died. I mean, they're the ones that are there hearing these things, and they want to help the students.
Right. So yeah, like they may be suffering from anxiety or other symptoms. So what help's available then?
Well, like I said, so the faculty says the students really suffer from anxiety. Hey, go about the counseling. So sometimes they refer, and the students will come on their own to counseling. But sometimes the faculty will kind of send it to me that way,
Right.
So I can reach out to them. And so it's growing. Counseling is kind of growing on this campus. It's kind of new, and so a lot of people still aren't familiar with it. So relying on faculty and staff to kind of continue to get that word out.
For sure. Also, too, let's say as Dean of Student Services, can you tell us about what services are available through the division?
Okay, well, we've already talked a little bit about the Advising Resource Center and the work that we do there. The Student Services Division is also made up of career services. They are kind of a beginning to end type service for our students, much in the way that testing is. Career Services works with our students to help them identify a career path. Many students come to us and they don't know what they're going to major in, and so they are phenomenal at helping those students look at their options, look at their likes, their dislikes, what their goals are, and identify career paths that will work for them. But they also help our students to obtain employment, whether that be part-time employment while they're going to be a student or employment in their field upon graduation. They have a tremendous network of employers that they work with and are able to help our students with resume writing, interview preparation, all of that job search.
Wow. So yeah, if somebody wants to actually take part of something like that, to actually get that help, what do they need to do? Just reach out?
They do. They just want to reach out to the Career Services office. They're on our website. They have locations here in Blountville on this campus, but they also have an office in our Kingsport location, and they visit the Elizabeth and Johnson City locations on a regular basis. So they would just want to reach out to them. Oftentimes what they'll do is an online interest inventory with them first. They'll email that to the student. That way when the student comes in for their appointment, they can talk to them about that, and that's already done, and they can go ahead and have discussions about that. They host a lot of employers on site to actually come in and speak with students and interview students and hire them here on the spot. And then they have a fall career fair as well as a spring career fair annually. The fall career fair typically takes place in Kingsport at our RCAM facility, and then the spring career fair takes place here in Blumville.
Wow. So there's just like ways people can get it about pretty much at their own campus,
They
unless they're
can.
Kingsport or wherever.
They
too.
can.
I wanted to go back to referrals. Literally meant to ask this a little bit ago. But are referrals actually strictly for academic issues? Or are they used for maybe other purposes and stuff as well?
Well, I think, as we've noted, they're used for other things. They're used for academics, they're used for attendance, they're used for counseling, student needs, any of those types of things.
And many times they touch on more than one office. I could get a referral on a student, and after speaking with them, I'll walk them across to the hall to see the counseling office, or maybe I'll walk them down to advisement if they're concerned about their class load. So I'll walk them down there to see someone. I've even last week I walked someone down to career services because they wanted to know about a co-op opportunity. So we give that personal touch and walk them to the office so they feel like they're getting that special care, and it shows them that we really do care about their experience here at Northeast State.
Exactly. Now, does your division actually touch into the career center, basically?
Well, that's not our area, but we know that the student has an interest, and a lot of times if they have the time, I'll walk them down. It's a more comfortable transition for me to take them down, introduce them to whoever's there, and then they can, give them a little bit of information that the student is interested in the program, and it helps bridge that gap. So it shows that we're not just sending them out the door and saying, well, they're down the hall. We're actually taking them down there, introducing them to somebody, and they feel like that we care about their time here and their experience.
And Kit, to kind of elaborate and continue on with the services, because there's so many in student affairs. Within student services, there's also the Center for Students with Disabilities, and they work with any of our students who have a documented disability. Let's say a student had special accommodations in high school for some type of a documented disability. They can provide assistance to that student. And then furthermore, we have a federal grant program called TRIO Student Support Services. They serve 180 students annually. It's an application process that students go through to be a part of that program. They have to meet 2 of 3 criteria: either first generation college student, have a documented disability, or have socioeconomic need. And so that is a tremendous program that supports our students almost in a coaching, mentoring type way. And then you can't forget our department or our division of enrollment services, and that encompasses admissions, financial aid, campus information, all those types of offices. So student affairs is a pretty large division that in one way or another touches everybody on campus.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for being here today. I think that answers a lot of questions, I believe. Well, appreciate
Well, thank you.
So thank you. We'll be back in just a moment to wrap up Direction Northeast.
I've learned a lot of things in my life, but there is no substitute for hard work. If you've got the will and determination, doors will always continue to open. Life puts us in the driver's seat. Where we go and what we accomplish is up to us. What's that old saying? When the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Well, that concludes the program for today. We've talked to our guests, Denise Walker, and Director of Testing and Counseling Services, Kathy Coleman, Dean of Student Services, and Rayma Gibbs of Student Needs. Community is very important to the students of Northeast Community College, and this program takes a look at a few of the subjects they find important. Until we meet next time, on behalf of the students, staff, and faculty of Northeast State Community College, I'm Kit Alexander, and this is Direction Northeast.